Now, I'm going to be explaining some things to you so that you really get to understand what it entails, what it really entails, and what this is all about precisely. Now, the career session is one of the greatest things that our academic milieu in Africa is missing. And youths get to school, I got to school and was never taught on how to get out and look for a job. Most of our academic schools or maybe our higher institutions were not making use of we're not making use of emails. So our results were being pasted where precisely on the boards. So a way, if you study in Europe, it's easy for you to have a job in Africa. Why? Because you are very versed with emails. But for us here, it's a practical problem. And many of us are still facing it till now. Many people are still facing it because they value WhatsApp, they value other things rather than their emails. So from today, I really want you to value a lot of things. You have a lot of things. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now the introduction. Now, this is where civil services started from, right? Like really. Now, in the Stone Age, right? In the Stone Age, nobody was to make a CV and send to any person, regardless of who they are, where they found themselves, and all of that. We were all hunters. Our forefathers, they were all hunters. The skill you had as a hunter is the skill that gave you your CV to produce food and bring food to the table. So people had no problem at all. People had no issues getting a job because during the Stone Age, you were your lone entrepreneur. You were the main entrepreneur for that. Now we move on to the agrarian age where everything was farming. In this session, some people made use of themselves, right? If you really could farm, that is why slavery had to start within this time, because the more slaves you had who could till the soil for you, the earlier it became. Now, when slavery was abolished, being abolished, people became wiser, people became too smart. They never now focused more on farming and all of these. Now it was the brain that came in the industrial age. In the Algerian age, it was required that you have 100 wives. King Solomon was the richest man at his time because he had how many? 300 wives and 700 concubines, or maybe all of that. Why? What happened? The wife gave birth to children, multiple children, who tilled his soil and produced food for the kingdom, gold, and brought everything. Imagine he had to take his whole family to mine. That is it. Now, I want you to follow this keenly to understand how it links to a CV. The industrial age. In the industrial age now, many of our parents went to school. What happened at that time is if you studied in London, look now, anybody who is 79 years old who studied in London and is currently here in Cameroon, they're having a high profile job. Why? Because in the industrial age, once you are in school, you already have a CV. Your ability to be in a classroom is a CV within the industrial age. So within that time, once you come out of school, there are companies that are searching for you. They want you. You're an engineer. You don't need to go and look for a job. Jobs look for you. You are a doctor. You are a teacher. You don't need to go and look for jobs. People come and look for you. Now, things have changed. We are now in the information age. Everybody, there are millions of engineers, there are millions of accountants, there are millions of agricultural engineers, doctors, there are millions of lawyers. I mean, 20 years, you see a child at 20 years, a youth at 20 years, he's already having a degree as an accountant. Just imagine. But with a degree as an accountant, it's no longer in those ages where companies come and search for you. Now you go to the companies. Now, in the information age, it's easy for you to apply for a job in Ukraine. Oh, that's where there's war now, and I'm sure people will not like to go. It's easy for you to apply for a job in Australia, in Canada, and all of that, and you will be taken. But there are techniques to get there. So if you look at it now, let me explain again. How does it link now to you having a CV? In the information age, if you are on Facebook, it should be professional. You need to be found on LinkedIn. You need to be found on Twitter. You need to be found where companies can find you. In the information age, your certificate no longer needs to be in the cupboard. Let me repeat, in the information age, your certificate no longer needs to be in the cupboard. It has to be on LinkedIn. In the industrial age, once you have a certificate, everybody praises you. You can pin it on the wall of your house, place it on the wall of your house for everybody to see because they can employ you. Now, if you print your certificate and put on the wall of your house, it is irrelevant. If you put it in your box in the house, it is irrelevant. If you can get me, just type on the chat box that you can get me. Now, that's what happens. That's completely what happens. People really misunderstand what is happening now. A lot is happening. A lot is happening. Completely, a lot is happening. Your certificate in the cupboard is useless. Your certificate in your phone is useless if it is not found on LinkedIn, if it is not shown on Facebook and LinkedIn that you went to this school, you have this certificate, and your ability to network with people who can employ you, people who you can do business together, and people who you can go places together. Away from that, you're not going to achieve anything substantial. You get a point? Okay. Now, any questions, you just type on the chat box. Any questions, just type on the chat box before we continue. Okay, regarding nobody has a question now, right? Let's continue. Now, if you understand this clearly, that your certificate now is actually not important, your certificate now is actually not important in the cupboard, but it is important where you find yourself. Now, I'll go now to the question. The next slide. In which age are you living and thinking? Now, we can be now in this age, and some people are living in the Stone Age. There are some people who are still living in the Algerian age. They think that farming is the best. Yeah, farming is the best, right? Maybe some people are still living thinking that slavery is the best way. You need to get married to 300 wives, and then they come and generate your income. Man, it is something that really does not happen again. Now, maybe you are still living in the industrial age where you think companies should come and remove you out of your house and really go and employ you. It is very difficult. It does not happen again. It really does not happen. Now, if you are living in the information age, the question you should be asking yourself is, where are you? Are you on Facebook? Your Facebook profile well built? There are some people, their about page on Facebook is empty. On LinkedIn, some people probably are not on LinkedIn. You can imagine, it's a problem. Now, some people are probably not available on some platforms. You have to be available. You're not on LinkedIn, you're not on Twitter, you're not on Facebook. Your Facebook profile is not well built. You don't have a Facebook profile picture. You don't have a professional picture and all of that. You're living behind time, guys. You're living behind time. And you should not expect those companies to really, really employ you. I mean, it takes a lot of anointing oil, a lot of grace and a lot of things for you to be shortlisted in that way. Now, let's move on. Now, a professional CV. Let's go straight to the professional CV. Now, here is the format of a professional CV. Here is the format of a professional CV. Now, a professional CV has to be ATS compliant. ATS means application tracking system compliant, meaning there are some key things that have to be on your professional CV. Once these companies pass it through their softwares, it needs to track you. It needs to track these things. So at times they pass it through their software and notice that your CV that you send has yielded only 20%. They delete it. Your CV that you send has yielded only 10%. Somebody's own has yielded 75%, 90%. They call him and shortlist him. Another person's own is 100% in alignment to the job. They call the person and shortlist the person. How? What is happening? There are a lot of things happening now. There are a lot of youths. Imagine how many state universities in Nigeria, how many state universities in Cameroon, thousands of accountants being employed or maybe being deployed to the community per year to look for jobs. Once you send a single job online that we need an accountant, 10,000 apply and you need only 10, or you need a single accountant. If you were the one, how will you look like? How will it go? So you need to ask a lot of questions. Now, your name on your document. Remember, your name has to be on your document as it is on your ID. As it is on your ID. And the name has to be in the document as it is on your ID. Next part of it is your contact. You place a contact that is available, that is current, that is currently being used. The next part of it is your email. If you did not follow our email services trainings, you really have to follow the email service trainings again, especially in job search Club 100. We will always do that, always have these trainings running, because once you are up there, we believe that a lot will be solved. Now, area of experience or enthusiasm or expertise. Now, what are we talking about, this area of experience or enthusiasm? If you did accounting, you have 2 degrees, accounting, management, and all of that. And then you have positions, you have worked voluntarily with companies, you have worked with companies that prove that you work as an accountant, as a manager, and all of that, and probably as a cashier and all of that. At the top of that CV, it has to be indicated what precisely. If you are applying as an accountant, forget about your experiences in management, unless they have demanded, put the experiences in management there, but the top of the CV is accountant. You are either a specialized accountant, an expert accountant, and all of that. Now, the next part, we are looking at the skills. Your skill set. There are soft skills and technical skills. Now, within these things, we are going to be discussing more about the soft skills and the technical skills. The next part of it, what are we looking at? Work experience, right? Work experience. It has to be detailed. Let's continue. I'll explain a lot about this work experience in the next slides. Next phase of it, look at it again. We have certifications and trainings. Certifications and trainings. Now, let me differentiate some things there. Look at it very well. You're going to notice certificates These are gotten from your normal 3 years programs, your normal focus with your 3, 4 years, 7 years of education. The academic institution gives you a certificate, right? Next part of it, we're having a certification. This is specialized. A certification is specialized. It is known as specialized education. If you read Napoleon Hill's on Think and Grow Rich, you are going to understand the difference between general education and specialized education. Let me break it down with an example. Now, a company is teaching, or maybe an institution or a career growth company is training on accounting softwares. Please, someone is drawing on this. Can you avoid that? Now, it's training on accounting softwares. You having a certification, like for instance, ACA certification, CIA certification, those are certifications that are focused only with accounting. And look at it, at times the certifications are more expensive than the certificates. Your 3 years in school may cost maybe 200,000, 500,000 CFA, but to get a certificate that you'll be trained within 1 month can cost you up to 1 million, according to the weight of the certificate and the results that will be achieved in it. Now, languages, publications, languages, education and references, publications, your educational write-ups, load them online. Language, if you can speak languages, many languages as demanded, what do? Load them online, load them in your CV and all of that. Put them there that you can speak these languages. At times, some of these companies demand these because they want someone who has gone through the system, who understands Chinese, who understands French to teach in their institution. So put them there, it's an added advantage. Education, you don't list everything on your educational background on it. Imagine you have a PhD and you on your CV you still put advanced level. How does it look like? Right down, you put every education right down to advanced level. No, before you reach the PhD, you passed advanced level. Before you reach the PhD, you passed a bachelor's degree. Unless a bachelor's degree is different from the master's degree, which is different from the PhD degree, then you outline the three. That is why it is put there, highest level required only, or last 2 to 3 high years levels attained. References. Now people make errors here. Don't just put anybody as your reference. Put someone who uses emails. Imagine I take one mama in the village, or maybe my grandmom, who does not know anything about using a phone. I had just had a new Android phone maybe for the past 2 years. And I love my grandmom so much. Or maybe I love that my coach or that my mentor so much, who never opens his email. And I put him as a reference. And the day the company gets to him as a reference, they never open it. Boom, my opportunity has been shattered. Why? Because they just needed him to say, wow, he is a young man. He is a very good young man, active and very trusted. You can work with him. Without that, you've lost a lot. You get the point? Without that, you've lost a lot. So what should we talk about more on your reference? Ask the consent of the person you want to send. Put somebody who is in your field and somebody who is making the hits and somebody who is trustworthy too. You get the point? And really put someone who uses internet systems, especially emails, and who value their emails. Some people value Facebook more than emails. Okay, here's a sample. Now, it can take any other form. Any form, your name, your phone contacts, your email, your region and or country of origin, expert accountant and finance manager. You get the point. We are having the soft and technical skills. A lot of this, I'll be explaining a lot of this as we go down. Now, Professional experience. The experience put in a CV has to have numbers. Okay, let's go down. The next slide, I'll explain more on this. Now, look at this. Very important aspect in the professional CV, qualitative information. When we talk about qualitative information, what are we talking about? English, it should be well. I mean, you check the language, the grammatic errors, spelling errors. I mean, Microsoft Word helps you to do this. Next part of it is quantitative information. Quantitative information. This quantitative information is talking about your competence. At times, companies ask that we need somebody who is competent in this software and who is competent in managing finance, who is competent in handling stock, who is competent in handling web design. And you just write to them on your CV and say, I am competent. They won't believe. Really, they won't believe you are competent. They don't really just believe that you are competent. So what happens? What really happens? Once you put numbers, I've been able to handle 3 billion CFA francs as an accountant. I've been able to produce 50 websites, which they are outlined here, and these are the websites. You attach just the link. It is super important. Immediately, see, guys, listen. If you're listening to me, just type on the chat box there, listening. Now, let me say something super important. If you're listening to me, type on the chat box. Let me know I'm not talking alone. Yes. One person who is there again, just type on the chat box you're listening. Good. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, listen. Information, quantitative information, numbers work like emotions. They make people take action before reasoning. Again, numbers on your CV work almost as emotions. They make people take action before reasoning. That is what they want you to come and prove in that interview. You've been able to handle 2 billion for a company. No, young man, come and prove to us. We need to know. Come and show us. How did you achieve this? But if you just say, I am competent in accounting, I can do everything in accounting, I can achieve everything when it comes to management, no, meaning you can achieve nothing. And then you have to be attentive to details. Okay, now the next slide, cover letter. Good. The cover letter. Now, let me read this. Look at this on a cover letter. A cover letter is more of a pitch. You're selling yourself. That's, even your CV is more of a pitch. You're selling yourself, right? It's more of a pitch. You don't just get to say, so I humbly write to you because I'm a good person. I have humility. I have a degree. I have this and all of that. No, right? It does not just happen like that. So what do you say? My 10 years, you address their problem. You see my 10 years, my 5 years, my 3 years handling 2,000 accounts for this microfinance, which has yielded them in saving over 3 million per month. Man, people, immediately the person wants you because you are detailed. You know the problem they want to solve in that company. Next part of it is, it contains 4 to 5 paragraphs. 4 to 5 paragraphs. It should not be too long. It's not an apology letter you're writing to, I don't know, is it to who? It's not an apology letter you're writing to Bay or somebody, you know. Say, my apology, I'm sorry 1,000 times. No, it does not move. Next part of it, it is short and in between 1 to 2 pages. 1 to 2 pages. What's decreased as the paragraphs flow? Meaning paragraph 1 can be 5 lines. Paragraph 2, 4. Paragraph 3, 3. Paragraph 4, 2. Paragraph 1, 1 line. You can imagine. And lastly, it ends with an appointment. Book your interview before going, and I mean, just book your interview and allow them to approve and say, okay, come, just come, just come. You've already booked the interview, come. Okay, this is a sample here. This is a good sample. Good. Dear hiring manager, you address the problem. You address their problem. Someone please, can you hold writing? Okay, I'll be talking about professional Facebook. A professional Facebook account. Let me just rush over this. Now, this is what people need to trust you. There are some people who have gotten to me only just from Facebook. They've never met me physically. Mr. Adebayo, I'm not sure he has ever met me. Some people have met me in platforms. Now, if you go and look at my profile online, you're going to notice this, right? You're going to notice most of these. People need to know if you are a reality. Are you real? People need to know your story. Where did you start? That is your CV. Just outline the places you work and give a maybe short description. If not, you allow the description, but on LinkedIn, you need it all. Next part of it is your networks. They value your networks. The next part is where you live. Where are you? Somebody, you can be in Nigeria and you want to strike a deal or go and work with a company on your Facebook, on some of this profile, it shows that actually you are living in Cameroon and you are living in the war-stricken places in Cameroon. How will it look like? And then your proof of existence, pictures and all of that and everything. The main idea here is that you upload your CV on Facebook. That's the main idea. Upload your CV on Facebook. That's it. Okay. Thank you very much. And I would love to end here and take questions now. Questions?